Man, I can't believe I actually saw this film. Yeah, I watched Avengers Endgame. Uh, this is probably my most hyped film of all time. If I said I was hyped for this movie, that is an understatement. This is probably my most anticipated movie, not just of the entire year, but of all time. Infinity War, I really loved. That film is one of my favorite movies of all time. I've seen it so many times. I love it. It is one of my all-time favorites. That it's that Pulp Fiction and Empire. It's a fight between those three for my favorite movies of all time to the end of days. And the ending of that film was so masterfully well done that it made me so excited to see what would happen next. And I was so pumped. I've been so excited for the past year to see what they could do with this film. And let me just say, holy crap, I actually saw Avengers Endgame. This was a movie while I was watching it. I sort of couldn't believe what I was watching. It was something like, it was a true experience to see this film. And you should just see it. I'm not going to talk about spoilers in this review, so you're safe, but I will be doing a spoiler review because there's so much in this movie to spoil. Like, the trailers really ruin nothing. There's literally shots of things. They really don't show much at all, which I was very, very generous of. And this is a 3 hour film, and my biggest praise I can give this movie is that it doesn't feel like 3 hours. This movie feels a lot shorter than 3 hours. This movie flies by. It is because it's so investing and you're so engaged in what's going on. You're so engaged in how these characters are going to end up that you sort of forget about the runtime completely, and you forget about some elements. You forget about what you're watching for a bit, and you just sort of immersed into it. And I was forgetting about how good this movie is because usually I'm watching a movie, I'm like, oh, this is really good. This is amazing. I love this. I love that. I love that. This is amazing. But Avengers Endgame, I wasn't doing that. I was just, a film is that good. Well, when you're watching it, you're not thinking to yourself, whoa, this is good. You're just going, whoa, this happened. This is happening. This is happening. And although I can say I don't like this movie more than Infinity War, I think I'll do a new ranking video of the MCU because I'd love to re-talk about loads of the MCU movies again. So I will do uh, a much longer new ranking video of the MCU. But after I see this film again, because I gotta see this film again. There is no way I'm not going to see Avengers Endgame again in the theater. This is a movie that needs to be experienced. This is a complete cinematic event. These two last Avengers movies have been films that are going to change cinema history forever. These films are something that we are not appreciating. I think people are taking for granted what we are actually seeing here. And this is a film that the Russo brothers masterfully made, and made some of the wisest choices I've ever seen. They put characters to new heights that I had never seen them before. We really feel the situation. This is, at the end of the day, this is a movie about failure. What happens when you fail? Can you overcome those failures? What are you going to do? There's a long time that passes in this movie where the Avengers have failed. Everyone's sad, and there's so low risk of what's going to happen, and I honestly had no clue what was going to happen at each point in this film. This film follows a very particular three-act structure. Infinity War was really like one big thing, like it was constant all the way through. So they're very different movies in terms of their pacing, because this film really has, its first hour is Act 1, its second hour is Act 2, its third hour is Act 3, and you can really feel the 3 different hours and 3 different acts in place. They are very, very different, and though I think each act gets more action-packed, I think each act also gets weaker. We learn less about the characters as we go along, but there's more to love. This movie just builds and builds and builds up to immense hype that you're just lost in it, and it's so amazing. This isn't a film where when the credits roll, you're like, oh. This is a film where the credits roll and you're like, oh. Okay. I expected that. I expected that to happen, and I'm happy that it's happened. This is a film that services the fans so much, and I'm a massive fan. I've been wanting to see this film for so long. I've been wanting to see certain elements of this movie brought to the big screen that we know so many Marvel fans are going to be so pleased with this movie. And this ends off the entire MCU amazingly. I know we've still got not Spider-Verse, we've still got Spider-Man Far From Home to come out, but this film does its job to really feel like a finale. This is the true end of the MCU. This really, really feels like that. This movie has emotional moments, really a couple emotional moments. It doesn't feel as thrilling as Infinity War. There's just so many moments that I'm just like, whoa, and it's just things happen that you do not expect, but then things happen that you expected to happen, but you want to happen. The things that you think that, okay, I really want this to happen, and it happens, and you are so happy. And there's just moments that you weren't expecting to happen, but you sort of knew, okay, this is going to happen a little bit, and when it happens, it's just amazing. And the big final third act of this film, I don't really want to talk about the first two acts because they're very spoilery, but the third act of this film, as you're all assuming, is everything I could have wanted. It sort of feels a bit short, though. There's some things in that third act they could have gone into. They're really focused on certain characters. They don't really cut back to anyone else in this third act. It's really focused on a few elements going on, so it doesn't feel as grand as it should do. It doesn't feel as cinematic as it should do, which in some case bugged me. There's a few very small nitpicks I have with this film. The second act was my favourite act. This movie improves every single other MCU movie. This has elements from every single MCU movie put into there, so it really feels like every single film. And I think some audience members who aren't massive fans of the other movies or haven't seen many of the other movies, maybe they've just seen the Avengers movies, but this film really has a lot of elements from the other MCU films. You really have had to have seen all 21 MCU films prior to this to really get everything out of it. And I know a lot of people are going to really enjoy it who haven't, but this is a film that requires the amount of time and requires you to have loved this franchise for a long time to really feel something in this film. And that's one of the beauties of this movie, is that it's such an event. This film I wouldn't even call like a film. It's something that's so different to what we've seen before, like Infinity War, where it's just so vast, and I can't even comprehend what I've seen. There's still so much of it that I just need to see again. The things they do with certain characters really, really was mental. The music in the film was good. It's great to hear the Avengers music as always, but they actually put in some more songs. There were some very clever elements of doing things that I was very happy with. A lot of the movie is things I expected, but done in ways I didn't expect, which was a massive praise. I give it to the Russo brothers. They are the best directors in the entire MCU. They've made Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. And my throat's really hurting now, so I better stop talking to you soon before this video gets too long. But I will definitely be doing a spoiler review. I really want to talk about a lot of things in this movie. There's a lot of things that I'm being very vague about in this review, because all I want to say to you is, I loved it. Was it as emotionally resonant as Infinity War? No. Was it as impactful as Infinity War in terms of the ending? No. But this film is more satisfying and gives you a true conclusion, a true finale for these characters, and it is truly amazing to see. Please see this film. Please. It's going to make loads of money anyway, but still see it, because this is a true event that should be experienced on the biggest screen possible, that should be truly experienced more than once on that biggest screen possible. And it's a film that I think will live on forever. This franchise is one of the strongest film franchises of all time, and is going to be remembered in film history for a very long time. And I have to give so much praise to everyone working on this film. The filmmaking present is fantastic, from a visual effects standpoint, to a storytelling standpoint, to an emotional standpoint, to making us care for these characters. And that's the thing I love about this movie. Every character gets what they need. Hawkeye, Nebula, Iron Man, Captain America especially, Thor, and loads of other side characters that we all love. Everyone gets what they need for this finale. Black Widow, Ant-Man, Hulk, everyone gets their moment to shine, and you feel for every character in their certain situations. And when the movie wraps up, I'm still processing it. I still don't know massively what to think, but I do know this, even with some very small nitpicks that I can overlook, this movie was as good as it could have been. The Russo brothers pulled it off. It was amazing. And yes, I think Infinity War is probably the more rewatchable, more entertaining movie. Endgame is the better Marvel film. It has more Marvel-y moments. But at the end of the day, I do like Infinity War just a hair more, but Endgame is still such a great conclusion, and is a film just needs to be experienced more times for me, and a film that just has so much going on in every single scene that I probably can't even remember what certain elements happened, but this movie was what I could have wanted exactly, so I'm very happy with it. Overall, I'm going to be giving Avengers Endgame an A+. I'm also going to give this film a 10 out of 10, because, you know what, screw it. I could have given it lower, but this film is truly magnificent, and is truly an achievement of something, and I have to give praise. So, there you go. Guys, comment down below your opinions on Avengers Endgame if you've seen it, and if you haven't, please check it out. And of course, thank you for watching. Goodbye.